This Halloween week, we are digging up one of South Carolina's most haunted stories. It's all about a woman who's known as America's first female serial killer, Lavinia Fisher. Lavinia and her husband John ran an inn just outside of Charleston called the 6 Mile Wayfarer House. And it was a welcome sight for weary travelers who had been traveling for a long time and just really needed a place to rest and eat and just take it easy for a bit before they had to get moving again. Lavinia had a particularly deadly way of choosing her guests. She would look for men who were traveling alone and looked wealthy. She would take them in, she would charm them, she would feed them dinner, and then she would give them a cup of her specially made tea. But the tea was a trap. It was laced with oleander, which is a beautiful flower, but it's also deadly poisonous, and it grows all over the southeast, and it's actually one of the deadliest plants in North America. As the men would begin to grow drowsy and sleepy, and they would start to feel numb, and their vision would get blurry, and she would lead them to their room. Sometimes her husband John would just go ahead and finish the job. But the more interesting story is that once she got them to the room, she would pull this lever, and there was actually a trap door underneath the bed, and it would fall down onto all of these spikes that were set up underneath of the room to basically impale the victims. Now, is this all true about the poison and the spikes and the trapdoor? Probably not. Historians have actually dug into what they think did happen. Lavinia and John didn't just have some crazy plan of poisoning people and then dropping them down through a trapdoor, but they actually were the leaders of a violent gang of highwaymen. Their inn wasn't some high-tech death trap, but it was their home base. They would find out which travelers had money, and their gang would rob them and murder them. The legend of the spiked tea and all is probably just folklore, but who really knows? But the end of their story is very real, and after a standoff with a vigilante group, the Fishers were captured and held in Charleston's Old City Jail. Lavinia is said to have worn her wedding dress to the execution because it was stated somewhere in some law that married women could not be executed. She was defiant until the end, and it is said that right before she was executed, she yelled out to the crowd, "If any of you have a message for the devil, give it to me and I'll deliver it." So that legend, part terrifying and part folklore, has haunted Charleston for over 200 years.